It's good to know that we've corrected our mistakes. That's been removed. RTI has been removed. They have tampered with their textbooks. Why should we do that? We should have the courage to say this is history. And in this history, we take this position. Argue it out if you don't agree with it. You can't distort history. You must all forgive me, but I have a habit of looking for reasons. My mother was a student of mathematics and physics, so I think she put it into my head to look for real rational reasons why anything goes wrong or right. And I suppose no matter whether I'm an activist, and you'll all see me as passionate within inverted commas, or shouting away or talking animatedly, but you're not motivated by just passion. You're motivated by reason. You might eventually become passionate. Of course, there is a strategy. And the strategy is that you build up a culture of hatred by insidious conditioning. If it's obvious conditioning, you can fight it. But insidious conditioning is very difficult to fight. And what has happened is, but I'll give you the more obvious examples. In the last so many years, the textbooks are being changed all over the country. It's not only Rajasthan, by the way. And actually, we had filed a Supreme Court writ to say that textbooks should be with an independent authority which looks at textbooks as history, as fact, as the heritage of a country, not really the heritage of a political party or a government. Anyway, the Supreme Court dismissed our case, so that was the end of it. But nevertheless, this is many years ago. But I'm talking about now. In Maharashtra, I don't know how many of you know that medieval India is not part of the curriculum. Medieval India, the whole chunk is out. In Rajasthan, we are saying that actually the whole war between Udaipur and Akbar, the Maharana Udaipur and Akbar, was wrongly recorded. So we are retwisting everything. Now, we have also taken out mention of Raja Ram Mohan Roy. Why? He was a person who liberated India from Sati. What was the mistake in having Raja Ram Mohan Roy as part of your knowledge? To understand that Hinduism has a self-reformatory, self-corrective mechanism. It's good to know that we've corrected our mistakes. That's been removed. RTI has been removed. RTI was Rajasthan's gift to the country. They've removed it because in any case, right to information began in Rajasthan. All these chunks have been removed. Our children are going to come out extremely warped. And let me tell you that I don't know how many of you know about Femida Riaz. She's a Pakistani poet and she says, "Tum bhi hum jaise nikle." I don't know how many of you heard her poem. And I went to Islamabad 2 years ago and I understood how distorted their understanding of the history of this subcontinent is in Pakistan, because they have tampered with their textbooks. Why should we do that? We should have the courage to say this is history. And in this history, we take this position. Argue it out if you don't agree with it. But you can't distort history. Once we tamper with rationality, with facts, then tomorrow we are the victims. Let's understand this very clearly, because these processes don't end where we want it to end. It goes full cycle. And in that full cycle, we'll be the victims of that kind of strategy. So that's the whole thing. Then the other things that I look at what it's done on the other side. While we are talking about violence against Muslims and lynching, violence against women has multiplied. Witches are being burnt. Middle-aged women are being stripped and paraded in the villages of Rajasthan for not even for any sexual crime, just because there was a land dispute. You have people stoned. I mean, extraordinary things are recurring. So once you unleash irrationality on a society, and this is my great fear, it's got nothing to do with a political party, it's got nothing to do with any specific incident, but it is with a process. Because if we set aside rationality and we bring in superstition and bring in hatred, and we bring in all kinds of various side effects that those bring, then we are really distorting society. And tomorrow we'll live in a perpetually violent and completely a society without rules, regulations, without the law, there'll be no rule of law.
So, but Aruna, there would be a counter-argument to this, which many people might have, which is to say that in all the years that the Congress was in power, that there was a certain kind of weighting of history as well. You know, that it's the left liberal intellectual elite that also skewed history in a particular way, and this is part of political process. You have a different kind of political vision now in power, and it's their right to change the discourse, you know. How would you respond to that?
I think, let's not say that the Congress and the left are the same. That would be the first political blunder you will make. Let's understand that the Congress is a centralist party. It's not a left party. So the left is different from Congress. Congress has always been a party in compromise. Let's also understand that.
Well, so is the left. I was using it more as a kind of intellectual division of left versus right.
I agree, but I just wanted to make that difference very clear. And let's also understand that Nehru was a Fabian socialist. And the Fabian socialist was very different from a communist. Jayaprakash Narayan was also a Fabian socialist. They are very different. See, that's the problem nowadays, is that we, because of the kind of education we are all getting, we are getting more and more specialized and less understanding of the larger generalities of life, which are so important for democracy. You have to understand much more than one specialization. But today's system of education is getting us into situations where we are brilliant in our subject, but we simply don't understand. Just one example, I went to the Indian Institute of Science when I was doing the RTI campaigning and spoke in Bangalore, all senior scientists. And when I said to them, how many of you know about the Constitution? They knew nothing. They'd never opened the book, they'd never touched the book, they didn't know what the preamble was, nothing. But they're super scientists. So if we are going to be this way in this country, I mean, I don't know very much about science. Maybe I'll buy any kind of yarn spun by anybody, thinking it's true. But it won't be. So I think what we are really arguing for now, in one sense, is some basic broad-based education in which we understand certain things. Of course, the Congress was to blame in part, the left was to blame in part, but that does not justify what's going on now. As a rationalist, I'm not speaking as anybody who's this, that, or the other today, but as my mother's daughter, I would like to see rationality prevail. I would like to see things happen and the causality be established properly and accurately.